In this section, we will tour some of the reference documents that we will use throughout our POW Science work. Let's briefly discuss the main documents that we will draw on throughout our POW Science work. First, the Montana Performance Standards, the storyline from the Next Generation Science Standards, the topic arrangement pages, evidence statements for each of the individual performance expectations, selected items and their details, and our 4 data collection forms. Here's the Montana Performance Standards reference document. If you follow these 2 links in the first 2 columns, you can navigate to the NGSS topic arrangement or directly to the NGSS performance expectation. This document also provides you with an identifier, knowledge of what standards Montana adopted, and guidance from the Montana Science Writing Team. Another support with this document is that by selecting the performance expectation link, you can easily navigate to the evidence statements. These 2 resources are the storyline and the NGSS performance expectations by topic. The topic arrangement organization serves to eliminate potential redundancy, seek an appropriate grain size, and seek natural connections among the disciplinary core ideas. The writers of the Next Generation Science Standards arrange the DCIs into topics around which to develop the standards. In addition, if we draw on the NGSS storyline for grouping our resources, we can better gauge what performance expectations of this topic arrangement are used to measure at this grade level. For reference, this is the storyline and the PE organization that we will be using. With the storyline, there are a lot of ways to look at the NGSS standards, but for me the most useful way to look at these standards is from the teacher lens. That is, how would I teach this? Or what would the scope and sequence be? For me, the answer to this question is by the topic arrangement. Therefore, I would want to group my formative assessments and instructional strategies by how I am teaching the content. The performance expectations shows the foundation boxes, the connections to other content, such as the Common Core standards in math and ELA. These 2 resources are the NGSS evidence statements and the NAEP selected items. The evidence statements are very helpful in thinking about what observable features of student performance there are. That is, what is it that a student must know, and what skills must a student have? In thinking about assessments, the evidence statements are key to helping us know what questions to ask. In the summer of 2014, a group of 15 Montana science teachers identified NAEP items with strong alignment to the framework. These items compiled into publicly available item sets. We have supplied the original alignment details for you to review, and additional performance data that relates to these tested items. This provides you with guidance on how to take static items and adapt them for formative purposes. We hope to expand our limited set of available items, item sets, and resources to original teacher submissions. But for this repository, first we need a model and a starting point to work from. Here are the 4 data collection forms that will be used in our individual and in-person work. The first form is the Confirm Quality and Establish Rigor form. We will have you individually review and submit items, item sets, and resources before our 3-day in-person workshop. On day 1 of the in-person work, you will meet to review the pool of resources for quality and rigor. You might be asking, why are we asking you to review these ahead of time and then meet as a group to review them? The reasons for this are 1, to increase the pool of instructional strategies to support these standards by having all experts contribute to the process, and 2, the reason is to ensure all resources are vetted by a team before making it into our online repository, thus ensuring high-quality resources for all Montana science teachers. We know that through this individual and consensus process, these resources will be helpful to and support new teachers, busy teachers, teachers teaching out of their field or expertise, and even experienced teachers. We think of this as a gift to our science teachers, since anything submitted in this work will be invaluable to Montana science teachers. Consider that many teachers do not have the time, resources, the department or collaborative partners, and sometimes even the confidence to develop formative strategies and resources to support good science instruction. The second form is the Strategize a Strategy form. This form will allow you to describe the steps a teacher and the students take to meet the learning goals. This form will be reviewed on day 2 of the in-person work. You will meet as a group to review the suggested formative strategies. The third form is the Identify Accessibility. This form allows you to identify supports and modification for differentiated instruction. This form will be reviewed on day 3 of the in-person workshop. You will meet as a group to review the support strategies for identified student groups. The fourth form is the Indian Ed for All Relevance and/or Cultural Significance form. Where it is appropriate, this form allows you to identify opportunities to include authentic and meaningful connections to IEFA. This form will be reviewed on day 3 of the in-person workshop after we have reviewed the strategies and the items for accessibility. You will meet as a group to look for opportunities to include IEFA where cultural connections are possible to the content and/or learning goals. All of these documents will be shared with you later on in the course. So how do we include original item sets, items, and/or resources? Or why are we using these NAEP items? Some of you may have heard of evidence-based design or evidence-centered design for test development, but for those of you who have not, here's a simplified version of the process. I think it is helpful to think of this in comparison to the claims evidence reasoning concept. Test development requires alignment, an emphasis placed on ensuring that each item and task elicits evidence about the target, which can be used to support a claim about students' knowledge, skill, and/or abilities contained in a content standard. Central to this idea, items must collect evidence through response that directly supports a claim. This is important and is the reason evidence statements from the NGSS were included. To begin the process, first there must be focus on clearly defining the content area to be measured. Next, we must define the claim to be made about the content. A claim is a statement about what a student knows or is able to do. As a reminder, performance expectations are the assessable statements of what students should know and be able to do. Some states consider the PEs alone to be the standards, while other states include the content of the 3 foundation boxes in their standards. While the PEs can stand alone, foundation boxes are a more coherent and complete view of what students should know and be able to do within the standard. The fourth step in the process is to define the evidence to be elicited from the student. What types of information can we collect from students that allow educators to say something meaningful about the student's achievement? In what ways can students show that they know and/or are able to do what is expected of the claim? Next, what are the methods for eliciting evidence? What item types and formats elicit this evidence to support these claims? The final aspect of evidence-centered design is to develop items. As we mentioned before, our purpose is to develop formative assessments and strategies, not summative assessments. With that said, we are giving you already developed and aligned items and resources. From here, we want you to be very intentional in what these items and resources measure, whether they garner the evidence necessary to support the identified learning goals, and ways in which teachers and students can either act on the information or interpret the evidence to support and inform their instruction or student learning.